Hello everyone, this is Undead Viking, coming to you with another video review of a new board game I've been playing a lot of lately. That game is Dragon Rampage. It is from Eagle Games, the nuts and bolts of the game, I guess, so to speak. It is for 3 to 5 people. The game lasts maybe a little bit over an hour. Sometimes you'll get done sooner if some of the endings occur earlier than you'd expect, but I'll get into that more with the game. Thematically, it is a game of a party of adventurers that, while creeping around in a cave, stumbled upon a sleeping dragon. They have decided to steal some of the treasure, and in the process of stealing that treasure, the dragon has awoken, and now they are faced with the choice of either trying to fight the dragon or fleeing from it. And it is basically a dice game. A dice game that uses the Yahtzee mechanic of roll the dice, look at your results, save some of the dice, or save none of them in some cases, and re-roll and get to re-roll twice. And that's the main mechanic. There's a lot of other things that go on as far as cards that each player gets to have. Different choices you make. Attacking the dragon involves rolling dice as well. Trying to move on a board, maybe to escape the cave, things like that. But at its heart, it's a dice game. And if you've watched any of these video reviews that I've done, you may have noticed that I'm a fan of dice games, and I really enjoy them. So when I heard that this game was coming out, one, it was by Richard Lanius, a designer whose work I greatly enjoy, such games as Arkham Horror or Elder Sign. And two, it was a dice game. So it was right up my alley, and I was excited to give it a try, and so I did. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you exactly how you play the game, and then I'm going to tell you exactly what I think, and hopefully maybe you can take my opinions and you can apply them towards yourself and the people that you game with. You can decide whether or not this is a game that you're going to like and you want to add to your collection, or perhaps not. So let's dive into the gameplay and we'll go from there. Alright, here we go. Okay, this is the game board for Dragon Rampage. Very classic, same as the cover picture on the box, obviously, but just the standard. It's the battle scene against the dragon over here. These are the spots that you will be moving, and you'll be trying to get out of the cave by reaching this square right here. You'll notice that there's a smaller green cave exit here, and you can choose that if you want a shorter game to be the escape route. It's been my experience that since it's only another 3 spaces or so, it really isn't that much of a shorter game, but technically I guess since if you only have to get to that to escape, that can make the escape option more tantalizing, and obviously, it's quicker to get there. They don't have any figurines to go with the game, but you do get these, like this is the barbarian. That's the thief. That's the mage. I just have a 3-person game set up right now, but the game does handle up to 5. Minimum of 3, however. The main crux of the game is using these dice. These are the dice that you'll be using. These are all the same except for this is a movement die. You won't be rolling that unless your character is actually moving. And you actually get to roll the die. Sometimes you only get to move 1 space, and this die won't even come into play. But the game works just like lots of other Yahtzee games. You take all the dice, you roll them once. You have to set aside certain dice, such as these. These are the dragon raging dice, so that means that the dragon has taken notice of you. So you automatically have to set those aside, and you decide out of these which ones you'll pick, and you'll go forward. In order to decide how you're going to do that, each person who plays gets one of these player boards, depending upon which role they're going to play. Now, these boards are all pretty much exactly the same. These over here, these sections, basically tell you what happens if you get if you roll high in those certain groups. And the only big difference is that the hit points of each character is located up here, and the paladin has 8, but say here's the rogue or the thief has 7, and if you notice the elf has 7. But for the most part, I mean, they're pretty much exactly the same. The only person that has more than 8 is the barbarian, obviously, would have 9. Now, what makes the characters different, however, is that each character gets a deck of cards. And at the beginning of the game, each player gets to go through this deck of cards, and they just pick one of the cards they want to use. And then they shuffle up the rest of the cards and they draw one at random. Now, it should be noted that you never get to reshuffle your cards as you use them, so they're kind of a one-shot item. But you'll be hard pressed to go through your entire deck of cards in a game. One, because sometimes it's tough to get these into your hand, and two, their usage is not always very apparent. You don't have a lot of options to use them. Now, each one of the cards on the back has some sort of effect. Now, the cards can be pretty much used at any time as long as the situation that you're using it for is completely valid. So, like, let's look at this card. It's the Mage card. It says Fireball, and it says discard when attacking the dragon to gain 1 reroll and add 1 success to the roll. So, if you're rolling to attack the dragon, you get to re-roll your dice, and you get automatically 1 success. Now, you'll notice this is nothing. It's just like there's no symbol or anything, and you're wondering what the bottom is. The bottom is like the hyped up version of what you're using, and the icons here say how much gold it costs to do that. So you can see here it costs 2 gold to do this, and it says discard when taking the dragon to gain 1 reroll, and the dragon icons count as successes. Now, normally when you're attacking, dragon icons don't count as successes. They count as failures, and possibly the dragon attacking you and doing damage. But if you were to discard this, you'd be able to turn those into successes and possibly do more damage to the dragon while avoiding damage. So, as with many games, the cards that you have in your hand allow you just to break the rules in some way. Which, and it's a good thing they have these, otherwise each character would be pretty much exactly the same. So, each person gets one of these, and they get, their deck of cards, and they pick one and shuffle up and grab the others, and then you determine the first player by just rolling all of these dice, and whoever gets the most attack successes, or however you want to determine who the first player is. But they roll the dice. So let's just roll the dice for like the rogue. Okay, so we roll the dice, and right off the bat, I get 3 dragon rage. So that means the dragon's really really noticing the rogue. And you notice these, a little treasure chest icon, that means you'll be able to get treasure. So the rogue likes treasures. Let's save those. And these are defense. Now, if you get a high defense, even if the dragon is really noticing you and raging against you, you can take no damage if you have the highest roll. So the rogue's going to keep basically all 3 of these dice. Doesn't want a chance getting more dragon rage, and doesn't want a chance, probably a good chance of getting treasure and maybe even avoiding damage. So you go through these dice, these little cardboard tokens you see here, and you find like the 3 that matches up with the 3 dragon rage, and you place that on that row there. And so then you go through and you find a 2, and you place that on the treasure, and I need another 2 for defense. I find that 2 for defense, and then we place that there. And so the rogue player hands the dice off to the barbarian player, and the barbarian rolls the dice. And you see, barbarian got pretty lucky. No dragon raging over there. 2 defense, and plus, as you can see here, this is a wild. So he's going to add the wild to these, which are attack. And so he's going to have 3 attack, meaning it's pretty sure he's going to be attacking the dragon on his turn. Now this particular icon means running, but barbarian doesn't want to run. And this one is the crafty icon, which allows you to possibly either draw more character cards or steal gold from another player. So he's going to keep the crafty icon. He's going to keep these 2 defense, because that means that there's a good chance he won't take any damage from the dragon. And he's going to re-roll this die. And he gets another defense. So barbarian player is pretty happy with what he got. He's going to take... if I can find a 3, hold on. There we go. Here's a 3, and he's going to put that in the attack row. And now, here's an interesting thing. See, there's a 5, and a 2, and a 2, and a 1, and a 2, and a 4, and a 1, and he doesn't have another 3. You only get 1 3. So, if he wants to put a 3 in defense, he has to actually decide, do I want to do 3 in defense, or do I want to do 3 in attack? And he has to make up his mind between those 2 options. So he's going to have to take a lower number And he's going to go ahead and put 2 up there. And he finds his 1 and puts that into the crafty area. Now, that might not be the wisest decision, because if you tie a number like those 2 and the 2, if you tie those 2, what happens with that is that the tiebreaker goes to the first player. And since the first player is the rogue is going to be beating the barbarian for the defense. But, you know, he thinks that he really wants to make sure that he's the #1 attacker, and he's still got one person behind him, the mage, so he decided he's going to go that route. So the mage likes the idea of running, and so he's pretty pleased to see that he has 3 running moves. Now, being smart, he realizes that since he's the last player, nobody else has taken a run action. So he's actually just going to keep that 1, since he knows he's in the lead, and he sees that he's got 2 crafty and an attack. Well, he's going to try to diversify, and he's going to keep the attack, and he's going to keep these 2 crafty so he can steal some gold from somebody, and he's going to reroll these 3 dice. And he got 3 attack himself, and so he needs 1 more attack or a wild, and then he'll get to go. Oh, he got another run. Now, since he's the last player, because of the fact that spaces have been used up and it's possible that he won't have access to things that he wants, the last player gets 1 extra reroll. So he's going to take 1 more reroll, and he got a Dragon Rage. So unfortunately, he did not get what he wanted. He got the attack the same as the barbarian, so he failed in that regard. But he gets to put a 1 on the run, so he's going to be moving. And he gets 2 in the craft, meaning he beats the barbarian there. And he puts his 3 on the attack, and he's moving back. So, now you go to the resolution. Now here's where actually, like, after all is said and done, this is, you know, kind of where the fun is. Now, normally you're laughing at everybody and making sure that nobody else, you know, rolls better than you and whatever, and you're laughing at their misery at their poor dice rolling. But at the beginning, you notice that the rogue has got 2, the same as barbarian, but since the first player, they get to go first. So the person there at the 2, they are immune to all dragon damage. So even though she is #1, oops, I forgot to put this guy there. So even though she's #1 on the Dragon Rage and going to be attacked by the dragon, she can't take damage from the dragon this turn. And so the barbarian, too, because he actually gets to heal this round. Because if you look at this board, you'll see the second highest heals 2 wounds, and the third highest heals 1 wound. And I'm sure, I apologize, you probably can't read that. There you go, probably you can. So, but, you know, at the beginning of the game, nobody suffered any wounds, so no big deal. So, and then we go to Dragon Rampage. The player with the highest Dragon Rage suffers 2 wounds and draws 1 hero card. So, normally, you take 2 damage and to the rogue, but since the rogue can't take any damage, nothing happens to them, and she gets to draw another one of her cards. And then you go to the second one, and the second highest rating suffers a wound. So unfortunately, the mage is going to take 1 point of damage. So they're going to add a marker to their card, and they'll take that point of damage. Now, you take this deck of cards. This is the Dragon Rage cards. You take these, and you draw the top card. You shuffle these, obviously. And you'll notice that it says, is the Dragon Rage greater than or equal to 9? Now, this is reduced because of 3 people, but you notice it's only 4, so it's actually, it's not going to happen. So first player chooses hero to be wounded, and that person takes 1 point of damage. So the first player is the rogue, and so she can say, well, barbarian, you got a lot of hit points, you can take a point of damage. But, however, if you notice this, the dragon blocks the exit. Discard all. If you had more than 10, which we didn't have, even that's only for 5 players. It's less if you have less than 5 players. But discard all tokens on the run you fool's action this round. So if we had more than this, no damage would have been done, but you would have discarded this token, and the mage could not have been able to run. So that's the dragon turn. The dragon's done doing its angry raging. Now the mage, you can see, is #1 on the next spot, which is the craftiness section. And you can say player of the highest craftiness rating may steal gold equal to their craftiness rating from another player or draw a card. The mage decides he wants some gold, so he steals 2 gold from, he has 2 there. He steals 2 gold, and he can't steal it from the rogue, because the rogue is the top on defense, so he steals 2 gold from the barbarian. So not only the barbarian to get hit by the dragon, he also gets his gold taken from him. He's not having a real good turn. And the second highest player may take gold from the supply equal to the craftiness rating or draw a card. So the barbarian can at least get some of his gold back. And just so you know, these are what the gold icons look like. They're pretty standard and they work really well. I have ditched these for poker chips like I do with most of my games, but you know, I just wanted to show you what those look like. So we go to the next one, grab the treasure. The highest treasure rating draws 2 treasure cards and keeps 1. The second highest draws 1 treasure or 3 gold. And the third highest gains a gold. Well, you can see that the rogue is the only one in that location. So you can see here's this treasure card. And you just draw this rogue gets to draw 2. So let's see, we have the Boots of Speed or the Healing Potion. Well, you can play in front of you and add 1 movement each time you roll. Or you can use the Healing Potion to heal 3 wounds. Kind of a tough choice, actually, but the rogue's going to take the healing potion, just in case she takes damage. Now, if you'll notice, there's a point here on this bottom right here. As long as you don't use your treasure at the end of the game, these are worth these points. So even magic treasure is always a good idea to take because they're always going to help you score more points in the game. So that's how those treasure cards work. Finally, we finally get to attacking the dragon. Now, attacking the dragon works a lot like when you normally roll the dice. You get to roll the dice, and then depending on what level of attacking you are at, you get to do rerolls. So, in this case, the highest attack rolling attacks dragon with 2 rerolls, just like you normally would, like in normal doing. And the second one, highest gets attack dragon with 1 reroll. Now, in a 4 to 5, successes do 1 wound, and 6 successes do 2 wounds. Now, when you're rolling, the successes are the axes or the cross weapons, the defense, and the wild card. Those are the successes. So any of those rolls are successes. And if you roll 3 of the dragon icons, the attack results in 1 wound to the hero. So the barbarian got to go first. So he's going to roll. And right off the bat, he's not doing too great because he's already got 2 dragons. He's got to save those. But he did get 2 successes. So we'll roll again. Barbarian's just not having a good turn. He's going to take a point of damage here from the dragon. And he's only got those 2. He needs 2 successes on these rolls so he can do 1 point of damage. And no, he got 3 successes, so he did no damage to the dragon. And he also takes an extra point of damage because he rolled 4 dragon icons. So the mage laughs at him and decides to roll himself. And the mage does great. Look at this. He's got, on his first roll, he's got 5 successes already, meaning he's done 1 point of damage to the dragon. He's going to try again. Look at that. He gets 6 successes. As you can see, the 6 plus successes do 2 wounds. So the mage takes 2 of these wooden cubes that belong to him, and he places them in the middle like that, meaning that he's done 2 points to the dragon. The dragon has as many hit points as 5 times the number of players. So right now, he's done, of the 15 points of damage that it takes to kill the dragon, he's done 2. And if they manage to kill the dragon, whoever does the most damage to the dragon gets the vast majority of the points for successfully killing it. So the mage is off to a great start as far as that's concerned. Now, the final thing is the run, you fools. Now, what happens there is the only one was the mage. If you look, the first person that gets highest rating rolls the run die and adds 1 to the movement. The second person just rolls the die, and the third person just gets to move 1 space. So the mage takes this, he rolls, I get 2. So, mage goes 2, adds 1, and he actually lands on this thing with the crossed weapons again, meaning he gets to attack. Now, when you land in the spot that gets to attack, you just get 1 roll and take what you get. You don't get to do any rerolls. So let's just see if he gets lucky. Holy cow. Yeah, he gets lucky. He does another point of damage to the dragon. So add that on there. And, no damage because he only rolled the 1 dragon. Everything's coming up mage this turn. Now, if you notice, there's other icons as well. Here, you get to draw gold. Here, you get to draw one of your hero cards. Here, you get a treasure. These little blue healing potions and heal you 2. So, as you move around the board, you actually get to do more things as well. So, it's another option to have more things for your character to do as you move. So, not only does running help you escape, but it also helps you, like, maybe gets you more stuff to be used by your character, and also gets to attack the dragon, and so on and so forth. So that it can come in handy, not just from escaping. And finally, the final thing on the board here is the Dungeon Fate. In the incredibly rare situation, and it would never happen with 3 players, but in the incredibly rare situation that in a 5-person game, and it's never happened for me once yet, but I'm sure it can, because of all the spots being taken up as your character's rolling. If you don't get anything because you can't place any of your markers down, you just get to pick something. You know, it's kind of like well, you suck, but we'll give you something anyway. You can take some gold, you can heal a wound, you can draw a card, or you can move 1 space, but you don't get to perform the action that's on the space. It's kind of like well, that really stunk for you, sorry, but we'll give you one more try. And that's how you play the game. You roll the dice, then first player marker goes to the next person, they start us off, and it starts going on. The best thing about the game is the trash talking and the fact that there's all these different options as far as the way the game ends. If you kill the dragon, the more points are going to be scored by the people that stayed and fought the dragon. If you escape, more points are going to be scored by the people that are running for the exit. And if a person dies, if any of the characters die, that ends the game. And in that situation, it's the people that actually were fighting get more points, but the person that took the damage and got killed, there's pretty much no way they're going to win because they get a big negative. It should also be noted, if you kill the dragon, the person that was closest to escaping and running out of the place actually gets a big negative to their points as well, because while everybody else was staying and fighting, one person was just making for the exit and racing for their life. But I hope you understand how to play the game. It should be pretty easy. I'm pretty sure anybody that picks this up and reads the rules once will be able to pick it up really, really quickly. It's one of those games where after 1 turn, everybody knows what they're doing, kind of thing. So, let me tell you exactly what I think of Dragon Rampage. Okay, that's how you play Dragon Rampage. Okay. Pretty easy to follow. It's a really simple game, and that's one of the pluses about the game, is that it is very easy to teach, and it is a very easy game to pick up. And I know that the game may be not geared towards younger kids, but I mean, my 4-year-old daughter is able to play this game. Then again, she's able to play King of Tokyo, which is kind of the same thing, roll the dice and so on and so forth. The spatial aspect of it took a little bit of time for her to understand how to play, but for the most part, she was able to grasp it pretty easily. So if you got kids, maybe this is a game they're going to enjoy. But anyway, I just wanted to point something out about this cover art here. Okay, now there's some really, all the different adventurers have their role, and you can see their place, whatever. And I noticed that, like, every single person except for, like, the dwarf here, their weapons are glowing, which I thought is kind of cool. Especially if they're fighting dragons that are this big. They should have magic weapons at this point in their careers. However, a couple of things I noticed. First of all, the dwarf has, like, this frosty mug of ale, and a giant axe. So am I supposed to understand that, like, he's just taking time in between swings of the axe to take a gulp of mead or ale or beer or whatever that is there? Which, okay, fine, whatever, but still, that's silly, right? I guess there is a magic item that you can get from the treasure pile that is a magical mug, but, still, whatever. And secondly, if you notice this chick right here, it's like, it's like she's got this weird expression on her face. And you look at the front, and it's like, what is she, like an ecstasy over here? I mean, what exactly is going on with her? And, like, she's got this weird crown on, and I was just like, what is up with that? And then I actually, like, realized it's the thief, and if you flip it up like that, you can see that she's got a bunch of gems and gold. So she's just really excited about being rich, I guess. So, alright, cover art. But, alright, so what about the game? I really like the game. Now, I've played it with a lot of different groups, and there have been some people that have detractions to the game. And I will fully admit that there are some problems with the game. I think the dragon is way too much of a wimp. He doesn't do enough, or she for that matter, doesn't do enough damage to the players, in my opinion. We have house ruled, actually, the dragon to do 1 more point of damage with those cards than normal. Not like the normal damage that the person gets that's subject to the Dragon Rage, but just like when you flip the card over and it does 1 or 2 damage to like certain groups of people, we've ramped that up and added a point to it. And that actually makes the game a lot more dangerous, I guess, for the adventurers. Secondly, I think the game works best for 5 people. It works good with 4, and with 3, it doesn't work so well because these locations that are on the board, where you put your markers over here, there's no rule about like lowering the number of those. So when you have 3 people, you don't really have a situation where those spots are running out, and your options are much more open. Now, if you want a game where it isn't as cutthroat, and people aren't taking those spots, I mean, then I guess the game would work for it. But we once again, we house rule, and we kind of reduce, when we play with 3 people, we reduce all those locations by 1. So you can, just have less options available to you. Now, it's a dice game, and so, whether or not you like randomness is going to decide whether or not you're going to like this game. But I find that if you've liked games like King of Tokyo or Elder Sign, games that have this mechanic where you roll the dice and re-roll and so forth, you're really gonna like this game. I really like the cutthroat nature. I love the fact that there's 3 different endings as far as escaping from the dungeon, or having one of the characters killed, or killing the dragon. So you can kind of gauge as far as what realm is going on with that. And certain players are going to realize that, say there's one person that's done a ton of damage to the dragon. So if the dragon's gonna die, they're going to win the game. So they're going to take it upon themselves to do everything they can to stop that person from doing damage, and also try to maybe escape from the dungeon, thereby ending the game and taking the win from that player. And I like that. They might even possibly try to speed the death of somebody who's injured, because of the fact that if that person dies, then the game is done, and maybe that'll end the game sooner, so they might get the win. And so there's that thought beyond the thought, and having 3 different separate possible endings to the game, I think, really adds a lot to the design. Other than that, I mean, I just played it at a convention, and I played a ton of games. I played probably 15 or 16 different games at this convention, and I played this. And pretty much everybody agreed that while the game may not have been the best game that we played, the 5-person game of this we played was probably the most fun that anybody had. I mean, there's a lot of trash talk going on the table, a lot of barking, a lot of making fun of one another, making fun of person's roles and things like that. And for that this game is a heck of a lot of fun. It might not be the best design in the world, it might not have mechanisms that you like so much, but as far as flat out fun, I have to give it a big thumbs up, because it's just that enjoyable and it's just that much fun for me. So, there you go. Dragon Rampage. Hopefully I've helped you out as far as whether or not you think the game's going to be good for you. I have lots of other reviews, and you can check those out at the website 2d6.org, who has been hosting my reviews, and many other fine reviewers as well. And also it's the home of a podcast that I am a part of with Joel Eddy and Marco Arnado, called Wooden Cubes and Iron Soldiers. And I invite you to check that out. We do that bi-weekly, and I'd really appreciate you listening to us if you got the time during a workout or a drive to work. And check out what we have to think about the board gaming hobby as a whole. And I invite you to add our comments to any of our reviews, especially this one that I just did, and to our podcast. And I will get back to those as soon as I possibly can. So, thank you very much for taking the time to watch this video, as always, and until next time, this is Undead Viking. You take care.